We've been telling you about this line of storms all week.
Let's get right over to Shelby Latino now with an update.
All right, thanks so much. This line of storms continues to push through the area. And just to get right to the most critical matter that we're watching right now, a tornado warning in effect for eastern St. Tammany.
It looks like over the next couple of hours, as this line begins to move in, we're going to see a slew of more warnings coming down, from tornado to severe thunderstorms. So as Shelby's been showing you kind of the close-up stuff, I'm going to show you what's happening, kind of the broad scale. Then we'll focus back into some of the warnings. This is that main line that we've been waiting for, that's been moving eastward with that very strong cold front and that big trough that's been developing out to the west. Now, the line extends from Memphis all the way down in the Gulf of Mexico to near Brownsville, Texas. So this is a major storm system, and all areas within the yellow boxes, these are the tornado watches that are in effect all the way through the morning hours. So as we come a little bit closer in, what I've done was I've kind of overlaid the watches and warnings over the radar. So you can see right now in the red, this is that area that Shelby's been talking about.
See, we do have some reports of damage in Washington Parish, in the Bogalusa area and beyond, where there was really heavy weather within the last hour or so. And Tommy Thibault, who is with the Washington Homeland Security Office, is with us. Good morning, Mr. Thibault.
Good morning.
And what have you experienced there in Washington Parish?
Well, earlier this morning, around the 4 o'clock hour, we did have a really strong storm come through that evidently produced a tornado.
We're going to keep heading towards New Orleans and kind of see what we can figure out as we drive through. Again, we've seen at least one accident on Interstate 10 back towards, you just saw that lightning strike right there.
But as more people wake up, we will probably be getting more reports of damage as people assess. And, Shelby and Bruce have been telling us those high winds have caused trees to snap and power lines to come down in some parishes, not necessarily here in Orleans, but we are still getting reports of damage across the metro area this morning.
And if you're just joining us and you're getting up wondering about school for your kids, school start times for Jefferson Parish Catholic Schools will be 10 o'clock. Orleans Parish Private Catholic Schools will be 11 o'clock. So at least you'll have a few extra minutes to pack in there before, while the rain's bad.
And that was a great move on the school's part, because the timing of this, you don't want to be out on the roadways with all this stuff going on. And of course, we're going to have traffic in a minute. But the start time, we're going to salvage some of the day for school, but at least during the morning hours, the worst of it, the kids at least weren't out in.
And those new pictures just in showing the damage in the Tallow Creek subdivision in Covington this morning as a result of this severe weather. As we continue to get new pictures and videos into the Alert Center, we will share the very latest with you.
Well, Nancy, right now we're on I-10 East in the New Orleans East area, and I'm just going to show you guys exactly kind of what we're looking at. Now, we just passed, I believe it was the Crowder exit. But I do want to tell you this, on I-10 West, which is this side over here, heading back towards New Orleans, we passed by another accident just a few minutes ago. It was, if you're headed down I-10 West, the accident is just before you get to the Louisa exit.
I was virtually looking at the news, and all of a sudden you hear a bang, and I jumped up out the bed and come look out, there's a tree on top of my house.
Man, that's something else, especially, was it something you think you were prepared for, especially hearing the forecast coming up throughout the past few days or so?
Well, I was prepared for wind and things and rain, but not in the tree falling on my house. So I'm fortunate and glad that nobody was injured or anything.
All right, thank you so much, Willie. We appreciate it. We've got these guys there bringing in the backhoe right now. They're going to get to work taking this tree down, so we don't want to be in their way. I want to show you real quick. We are in the Fox 8 storm tracker, and you can see it's lit up right here. This gives us probably one of the best views that you can see here in the greater New Orleans area. As we go through the area here, of course, we do know that there were some injuries in the area, or in Washington Parish here. We're going to be continuing following this storm through the area and the damage that has occurred.
We're in the Slidell area heading towards Mississippi. We heard that Pearl River County is getting some of this storm pretty bad right now, and there may be some damage out there, so we're heading towards that direction. You can see right there. The rain has not let up at all, but that's probably because we're literally kind of chasing the storm right now. So it's been staying pretty steady, but we are heading east, which is the same direction that it seems to be heading in as well. So again, we're heading towards Mississippi. We know we have some viewers in that area, Pearl River County, trying to see if we find any damage or hear of anything when we get out this way.
And I want to show you some video we got here. This is going to be in Washington Parish, but not where Rob Krieger is. This is over in Franklinton. Richard Lowe sent us these pictures. It appears that a shed sort of broke apart in the winds and the rain. You can see chairs pushed around the yard and pieces of the shed on the ground. So just goes to show you that it doesn't have to be a tornado. Straight line winds can do a lot of damage.
Grand Isle is among the areas waking up to some damage. Joining us on the phone now is Mayor David Carmardell. Thanks for joining us, Mayor. Tell us what's happening there. What are you seeing?
Well, it blew pretty hard this morning, and then come to find out we had a camper that turned over, and also we have a couple of power lines that's out toward the community center on LA1, and the water had came up with that north wind and pushed it over the road again and kind of flooded this area in the middle of the island. And we have no electricity right now, but I just got off the phone with Energy. They're going to try to switch over the transmission line in the next hour or two to see if they can get some electricity back.
And we're just learning from our Raycom sister station WLOX that areas are dealing with flooding this morning and debris being flown around from the high winds. We've also got some new video in from Ocean Springs. Take a look at this. The windows of this Walmart blown out from the storm this morning, and many of the cars in the parking lot experienced the same thing. In Escatwa, we're hearing reports of trees that fell on cars, and over in Biloxi, we've learned that a bridge near the Biloxi River is closed because of flooding this morning, but pretty incredible video there. Again, that Ocean Springs Walmart where the windows just shattered as a result of the high winds from today's storm.
Liz, we are in Angie, Louisiana, just outside of Williams Organic Dairy Farm, where you can see behind me the damage is massive. This camper that you're looking at, this is where the men who milk the cows, well, it's where they used to live. Luckily, around 3:30 this morning, they were out of the camper milking the cows when the tornado blew through and devoured their homes. But this sign that you see, well, it used to be on a barn way over there, several hundred feet away. The damage in this area is just immense, with roofs ripped apart, awnings twisted into pretzels, and trees completely uprooted. The farmers here say they're just lucky no one was hurt. As for the cows, with more than 400 head of cattle between calves and adults, they're still trying to assess the situation, but it seems like most of the animals are okay. A bit shaken up, but they're getting food now and getting milked this afternoon. The hardest part will be the cleanup, but for some of the farmers working right now to pick up this mess, this is just the middle of what started early as a very long day as wicked weather passed over the barn right as the milking began.
Just a little bit after 4 is when the lights went out and we heard all kind of commotion, and when we walked outside and looked around, it was the god-awfulest thing we ever seen. It was just amazing of how much damage it did.
Well, ain't no need crying over. We just got to make some more and keep on going so we can pay the bank, pay the bill. That'll be tough.
Well, because the dairy lost power, they had to dump 6,000 pounds of milk because they can't keep it cold. They couldn't get the generator to work very well either. The farmers here tell me they'll have to dump today's milk too until they can get the system back online.
Not far away, the tornado touched down near Bogalusa and sent 2 men to a hospital. Josh Robertson picks up our team coverage from the Bogalusa area. Josh.
That's right, guys. We've seen a lot of people coming up and down this road here in Bogalusa, just outside of Bogalusa, actually. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see the damage that is still here. And there's a couple of guys in there right now rummaging through what they can salvage. And one of those guys you see there is G.W. King. I spoke with him a little bit ago. He's a minister here. The trailer homes in this camp are all run by a minister, a family of ministers, and they basically welcome in people who are in need, alcoholics, drug addicts in the home. homeless. There were 2 men inside of that home when it did flip over earlier this morning. And GW says they've been trying to get in touch with them at the hospital, and hopefully they're okay. We also spoke with Stanley Green. He was here whenever that tornado touched down and came through this area.
They're okay. It turned over on them. Leonard Rochelle, he's like 81, and the minister's brother James Wilbanks, and they said that they both walked out and he's bleeding. I think Mr. Leonard has a broke arm.
And residents in the Tallow Creek subdivision woke up this morning to downed trees and power lines. A few homes even had trees through their roofs. Meg Gatto is here with details. Meg.
Residents we spoke to describe a scary scene, hiding in their bathrooms or other interior rooms as the storm rolled through. And afterward, the damage was evident.
I got 7 leaks in the front room, holes in my roof, everything. Trees went down, and most of our neighborhood is from Katrina, New Orleans, and Chalmette. You know, we've been through disasters before.
Now, Cindy Fagan says she didn't think she'd have to live through another storm that would be so bad and damage her home so severely, but she's thankful to be alive. We've seen pieces of siding ripped from homes, and we even heard reports of trampolines lifted in the high winds and tossed about like toys.
While some tornadoes have already been confirmed, it could take days for investigators to get a clear understanding of the severity of today's tornado outbreak.
Some of the worst damage can be found on the North Shore, where structures have been torn apart.
Rob Masson joins us and shows us some of the damage in Washington Parish.
It was a morning the Lott family will never forget.
Well, I was running behind him, and he was saying, oh my God, what is going on?
They heard their phone alarms go off, then 3 minutes later, a sound unlike any other.
It sounded like it was hailing. Things were hitting the house. And then all of a sudden I started hearing breaking glass.
Robbie and Rita Lott rushed to the living room where their 9-year-old son Will was sleeping. They got on top of him as the roof over his head blew away.
He fell asleep on the sofa. A lot of times he does that, and we'll just leave him there. And, you know, when I heard everybody says it sounds like a freight train, and that's exactly, maybe 100 freight trains, but, that woke me up, and I just ran in there and dove on top of him.
He spread himself out over our 9-year-old, and I did too, because all I could think was to protect him.
Down Military Road in Varnado, more destruction. High winds damaged homes belonging to the Williams family, who've operated a dairy farm here for nearly 4 generations.
We used to sit there and watch it do damage to other people, and that kind of gets to you, But when it does to your property, and we know what we got over here, it's real disturbing.
Some of the dairy workers lived in this trailer, but they were already up milking cows when the tornado blew in.
If they'd have been not at work, it'd have been bad.
Here in northern Washington Parish, neighbors and friends rush to help out.
That's how we do it here in Washington Parish. When something happens within the community turns out to help.
Most say they can repair the damage to their homes, and they're all thrilled no one was hurt.
And thankfully, this is all it done. It didn't suck us out with it.
We had not had severe weather like that in about a year and a half. Thank goodness we have been in relative calm here for quite some time. But my goodness, in Washington Parish, we really got it. Varnado, an EF2 tornado, 115-mile-per-hour winds. A second tornado at about the same time, an EF2 with 115-mile-per-hour winds with 2 injuries in Bogalusa. Thank goodness there was no loss of life. And this was part of a wider severe weather outbreak. The light-colored dots you see there is wind damage with tornadoes in between. And that was the track southwest Louisiana, North Shore into South Mississippi. There were also, in addition to the Washington Parish tornadoes, 2 EF1 tornadoes near I-10 in Jackson County, close to Ocean Springs.